Okay, in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to model a British Aerospace Hawk T1 jet plane. So first we need to get the reference drawings. Now I managed to find the reference drawings on the internet, and this is what it looks like. Okay, so there are plenty of drawings here in this drawing, and I have the T1 and the other types, so I'm just going to concentrate on the original T1 model. Now the good thing about this drawing is that it has cross sections, and I'm going to use Blender's Bsurfaces to create the cross sections. Okay, so now before I model, I actually went to look for some photographs of the Hawk jet plane itself so that I can figure out what is the general shape of the jet plane. Okay, so once you get the idea, you can start by first bringing in the reference drawings. So the first thing I want to do is to create an image empty. And then once it's created, I'm going to click on the image empty properties tab, and then I'm going to open up my reference images, and I'm going to click on the Hawk reference drawings. So first I'm going to scale it up, and I'm going to adjust and offset the drawing until it fits the grid. So you can go to the top view. Okay, so generally I model the plane pointing downwards in the y-axis, so I'm going to rotate this reference 90 degrees, and then I'm going to move the top view of the jet plane until it's lined up in the y-axis. Okay, so I'm going to reduce the transparency so that I can see through the drawing itself. Now, not all the drawings are properly lined up, as in it is not lined up straight, so I can see that I can still rotate this slightly. Now with the cursor in the center, I'm going to change it to rotate along the 3D cursor, and then I'm going to rotate until I get it straightened out right about there. Okay, so I'm going to switch over back to my perspective view and take a look at the size of the reference. So I'm just going to scale it up some more until the plane fills up the entire grid. I tend to model the jet plane as large as I can so it fills up the grid space. So for my top view reference, this is lined up. Okay, so I just want to check and make sure, yep, this is the top view of the T1. Okay, so now I'm going to duplicate another reference to be used as the front reference. So I'm going to press Shift D, and then I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. So RX90. Okay, and then I'm going to press RY90. Okay, right now it's upside down, so I'm going to press RY180. Okay, and then I'm going to switch over to the front view by pressing 1 and pressing 5 to go to orthographic, and press G, and then position the front view until it matches the grid. Okay, the grid lineup. Okay, so I'm just going to push the reference. I'm probably going to just model the plane without the undercarriage. So this is try to keep this tutorial under 1 hour. Okay, so right now you can see, because I'm rotating along the cursor, I'm able to straighten this up. Okay, so now my front reference is done. So I'm going to middle mouse click and drag. Then I'm going to push this front reference back. I'm going to right mouse click and select the top reference and push it down. Now I'm going to select the front reference. I'm going to press Shift D. Right, and then I'm going to rotate along the y-axis. So I beg your pardon, the z-axis. So R followed by Z, Okay, and I'm going to rotate 90 degrees. Okay, so now I'm going to position my side reference. So I'm going to press number 3, and then I'm going to drag this down. Okay, because I'm modeling my plane just above the grid line in the front reference, so I'm going to just push this up slightly. Okay, so now I just want to double confirm the lineup is correct. So I'm going to select the front reference, which is here. I'm going to drag it forward, and then I'm going to select the side reference, and I'm going to drag it to the center of the grid until they cross each other. So what I'm doing here is I want to ensure that my reference is properly lined up, and that the tail, okay, you can see that the tail right now is a little bit high, so I can just move the top reference down slightly until the tail section here lines up. So this might take some time to get lined up, and then it appears that I might need to rotate the chin up higher slightly as well. So I'm going to press number 3, and then I'm going to press R to rotate until the belly is lined up with the green line, and I'm going to push this up slightly. Well, actually, I'm going to use this cross section here as a reference. So I'm going to rotate this until this is a vertical line. I think this is what it is supposed to be. So I'm going to just push this up, going back to check the reference again. And I think for the top part of the rudder, I'm just going to ignore it for now. Okay, I'm just going to concentrate on the front canopy lineup. So right now the front looks lined up. Okay, now I want to take the top reference, which is at the bottom here, and I'm just going to bring the top reference up and make sure it lines up with the front reference. Okay, the side reference. Now front reference, I can push it back now, and they look pretty much lined up. Okay, so this stage is pretty critical because you want to ensure that the 3 viewings are all lined up properly before you start modeling. So I think this is good enough for me. So now I'm just going to put the top reference down and the side reference further away. Now for the uninitiated, this can get a little bit confusing, but right now once your reference drawings are lined up, you can press 1 on your number pad. You can see the front reference. You press number 3, you see the side reference, and you press 7, you see the top reference, all lined up according to the grid lines. So once you are satisfied with this, you can actually lock these references by pressing N to bring up the viewport properties. And if you go to see the transform information, you can click on the locks to lock them, and even the rotation to lock them. I'm going to lock all the scale, including the scale as well. So I'm going to select all the reference panels and lock them up. Okay, so now even if I select them, I can't move them or rotate them anymore. So they are fixed in their position. Okay, so like I've mentioned earlier, the reference here has cross sections which we can use in conjunction with Bsurfaces, a very good add-on that allows you to create surfaces out from Bezier curves. So first we need to create the cross sections. So I'm going to the front view, go to the front view, and I'm going to start drawing the curves. So I'm going to first create a Bezier curve. I'm going to click the cursor, left mouse click here, so that the Bezier curve will be created here. I'm going to press Shift A and select Curve Bezier. And because we are looking at the y-axis, the Bezier curve is actually lying flat down facing the z-axis. So I'm going to press R followed by X90. So right now the curve is facing me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the shape of this curve to match the cross section. So I'm going to press tab to go to edit mode. I'm going to grab this one of the vertex here first. I'm going to press G and then move it down here. Then I'm going to grab the other vertex, press G and then move it over here. Then by manipulating the handles, I can change the shape to match. So the other handles, I'm just going to bring it inwards here. Now I'm going to select these two vertices. I'm going to press W and then subdivide it, so I have another extra vertex that I can reshape. Okay. So once I've done that, I'm going to press A a couple of times so that all the vertices are selected. I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate another set of curves, and I'm going to reposition and follow the B cross section now for this reference. Okay, and then I'm going to grab the handles and readjust them until it matches the cross section. Okay, so now the B cross section is done. Now I'm going to press A a couple of times to deselect everything. Now move your cursor over to the B curve here and then press L. So only the linked vertices will be selected, and then you can press Shift D again, and I'm going to position this, and now I'm going to recreate the C cross section. So grab the top vertex, press G, position it to the top here, grab the handles and reposition it. So the bottom vertex here, going to pull it out so that it matches the curve. Okay, I'm going to continue to D. So again, I'm going to press A to deselect, press L so that the linked curve is selected, press Shift D and move the curve here, and we're going to repeat the process by moving the vertices of the curve until it matches the cross section. Now if for some reason you need to have another extra vertex between here, you just select two of these vertices in between. Okay, shift select these two vertices and press W to subdivide it, so you have another extra vertex that you can tweak the shape with. So now we have created 1, 2, 3, 4 cross sections. Now they're continuing. There is the E, F, and G cross section. So I'm going to do the same, and I'm going to press A to deselect everything first. Press L to select the top biggest piece here. Then press Shift D to duplicate, and then bring down to E. Okay, now we come to this section where there is the jet intake cross section here. And how are we going to create this shape like that? Well, you can select these two vertices which form a section here. You can press W to subdivide it. Move this vertex until it is at this extreme corner here. Then press V to bring up the set handle type. Because there is an extreme angle here, we're going to choose vector so that we can grab the handles and create a almost perpendicular angle here. And then the rest of the curves, I can just bring it up here. And over here we have another transition. I'm going to select the two vertices between here, press W and subdivide it. Then I'm going to grab this vertex and place it here. I'm going to change this vertex handle to vector as well, so I can curve it up. And notice the color of the handle changes. Okay, once I adjust. So you notice that when I change to vector, the curved handles become independent, and then I can adjust the handles to follow the cross section. Now at this stage, it'd be a good idea to save a copy. So I'm going to press save as hot T1, and then I'll just save this. Okay, so I'm going to go back to edit mode here, and I'm going to continue to the next cross section here. So press A a couple of times until none is selected, none of the curves is selected. Then press L near the E curve, and then press Shift D to duplicate another section. So the F cross section now is getting smaller. So I'm going to press L to select this group. Then I'm going to left mouse click the cursor here, and since we are scaling along the cursor area, it's going to follow, and as I scale it down slightly. Okay, so now I'm going to grab the vertex and then move them into the correct location. Alright, so F cross section is done. And I'm going to press A to deselect, then press L to select this cross section, and press Shift D, and going down to the G cross section. Now for the G cross section, right, you notice that there's a sharp edge that's going up. It's actually cutting across this section here, which cuts the rudder. Now I'm going to ignore the rudder section, and I'm going to end the cross section right about here, because for the rudder we are just going to select the faces and extrude it outwards from the body when we are near the stage there. Now this section is much more rounded, so you can actually delete away one of the vertices, okay, because we don't need so many vertices. No, not this one as well. I'm going to select this vertex and then delete it. On second thought, maybe I'll need that vertex. Okay, I'm going to select this vertex and then press V and then change it to aligned, so that I can create this now rounded transition here. So you want to try to keep your cross section as close to the reference as possible. Okay, so now we have created the cross sections. Now our job is to move the cross sections so that they match the position of the jet plane. So I'm going to save again by pressing Ctrl S, and then you can see that all the curves are right now residing in the same plane. So we are going to move it along the side reference. So I'm going to switch to the number 3 to the side reference, and then I'm going to press left mouse click here to mark out the position. Now it would be helpful to have two windows side by side right now so that I can move the curves. Okay, so I'm just going to drag the corner to create two curves. I'm going to hide the viewport tools and properties, and then for this view I'm going to change it to the front view, and then now I'll start to reposition the curves. So this one is the front view, so I need to move all the curves to this location. So I'm going to right mouse click and select the curves, then press G and move it right to the front location here. Alright, so this is should be the front of the plane. So currently the first curve should start here, so this is my right view. So I'm going to move the curve until it starts here. So right now this curve is positioned, but not the rest of the curves. So I'm going to go to edit mode. Okay, and then I'm going to press, I'm going to select this curve first, L, and then press Ctrl I to invert the selection. Okay, and then I'm going to move these curves now to the B location. Remember, this is the side view, so move this to the B location, and then press A to deselect, L to select the B curve, then press G to grab and move it to align it in the front view plane. Okay, this looks good for me. Press A to deselect. Okay, and then I'm going to select these two curves, then press Ctrl I to invert selection. Then I'm going to shift these next curve to the C plane here. Okay, and then I'm going to press A to deselect, then press L to select the C curve, and now line it up in the front view reference. Okay, so I'm going to just push this here, get it lined up. So press A to deselect now, press B to select all these, the lined up curves, and press Ctrl I to invert the selection again. And this time you're going to push to the D cross section area. Okay, and then press A to deselect, press L to select the D cross section, and then move it until it matches the D cross section. Okay, so again, press A to deselect, then press B and select the lined up curves, then press Ctrl I to invert the selection. So now is the D cross section. Okay, it seems that we messed up one of the curves here, but that shouldn't be a problem. We can easily fix that. Okay, so right now I'm just going to fix the curves here. Okay, I'm going to click the cursor here, and then I'm going to use scale along the y-axis, then press 0 to flatten it. So apparently some of the vertices here are not selected yet. Now press A to deselect, press B, and select these vertices, then try one more time, S, Y, 0. So now all the curves are flattened. Okay, so right now they are all lined up in the E location. Press A to deselect, then press L to select the E curve, then press G to move it until it matches the cross section. Okay, I don't know where this comes from. This seems like a abandoned vertex, so I'm going to delete them. Okay, so right now I'm left with the F curve here, so I'm going to press L to select this F curve, and Shift L to select, oh sorry, I'm going to press L again to select this curve, and then I'm going to bring it to the F cross section. Okay, press A to deselect, then press L to select the F cross section and position it. Press A to deselect. Seems I have a lot of ghost vertices. Okay, so I'm going to delete those. So press L to select the last cross section, and then I'm going to move it until it matches the cross section position, and then move it up to here. Okay, again, I'm going to just delete away these ghost handles. Yeah, I got a bunch of additional handles which are not supposed to be there. So to make it easier for me to see, I'm going to hide the handles in the viewport. I press N, and I'm going to hide the normals, and then I'm going to hide the handles. So I should be left with only the curves. So let me just inspect to check that my curves are okay. There seems to be some vertices hovering around there. Now these vertices could be accidentally duplicated when I'm just duplicating the curves. Alright, so I got all the curves. Now the last curve which I want to create is the circular curve representing the nozzle of the aircraft. So I'm going to create a curve in the front view. So first I'm going to click on left mouse click the cursor here, then press Shift A, and then I'm going to create a Bezier circle. I'm going to press R followed by X 90, and then while the vertices are still selected, I'm going to press W and subdivide it. Okay, and then for this circle, I'm going to push it all the way back. Go to the side view here. G followed by Y all the way back here, and G followed by Z. I'm just going to position it here. Then I'm going to scale this down, but this time I'm going to change the scale to median point. Scale it down until it matches the size of the jet nozzle. And I'm just going to need half of this, so I'm going to select this these vertices, and then I'm going to press X to delete away the vertices. And then I'm going to select these to press X, delete away the segment, so that is an open half, or rather a semicircle. I'm going to turn the handles back and readjust these circles. Okay, so they form a nicer cross section. Okay, so now we are ready to create half the body of the jet plane. So to do that, we must first activate the Bsurfaces plugin. So to do that, go to File, User Preferences. Okay, under the add-ons, search for Bsurfaces and make sure your Bsurfaces option is turned on. So in my case, it's turned on. Now by default, this is not turned on, so you have to click on the checkbox to turn it on. So mine is already turned on, so I'm going to turn it off. And also the next stage you want to do is save, because we take some time creating these curves. So right now we want to use these curves, right, to create our jet body. So how do you use Bsurfaces? So now I don't need the extra window anymore, so I can click on the hash lines and then override it. Okay, and to use the Bsurfaces tool, first we need to create a polygon surface. So I'm going to create a polygon plane. So Shift A, create a simple plane. In fact, I'm just going to reduce the size of this plane so it's not so obvious. So this is how it works. First you select the curve object, then you Shift select, okay, the mesh plane, and then I'm going to open up the tools windows, and then you go to edit mode, and if you scroll down here, you will have this tool called Add Surface. Now, before you add surface, you want to make sure you keep the strokes. This is very important, because if you don't, alright, and you create the surface, then all the curves that you have painfully created, okay, will disappear. So that's why I left the keep strokes on, and then go ahead and add surface. Okay, so now you can see we have a very rough version of the jet body created very, very quickly. And now at this stage I don't need so much detail. I can reduce, okay, reduce the amount. Probably about 8 should be good enough. And then the follow sections, right, also don't need so much. Probably, okay, maybe I'm going to increase it to 2, and this should be sufficient. And this should be enough detail for me to start to model the jet plane. Now for me, I tend to like to model on the from the front view. I'd like to model from the right side. So right now I'm going to save this. Okay, so I'm going to flip this mesh object to the other side. Now as for the curve, right, we don't really need them now, so we can press M and put it in another layer so we don't see them now. So we have the rough shape of the jet plane quickly created by using these curves and Bsurfaces. So I'm going to flip this one. So I believe the control is Alt, I think it's Control M, and then I want to mirror along the x-axis. Okay, so right now the side which I prefer is available for me. So then now I'm going to apply a mirror modifier, and then I'm going to turn on clipping, Okay, so now you can see the two halves, right, are not fitting exactly. I'm going to turn on smooth, so it's smooth shaded. Okay, I'm going to go to the front view and go to edit mode. Press B and select the central vertices like that. Okay, I'm going to click on no clipping so that I can see through and select the vertices behind as well. So remember to click on this button here. Then I'm going to press S followed by X0 to flatten the center. So now with the clipping on, okay, the two halves are now matching properly. Okay, the next thing I want to do is to seal up the hole here. So I'm going to go to edit mode, Alt, right mouse click to select this open-ended edge here. Okay, and then press E to follow, or rather to extrude another edge. I'm going to go into the side view, press E, okay, right about here. Then I'm going to press S to scale it down. Okay, so we can see the bottom here needs a bit of adjustment, but that shouldn't be too difficult. So I've scaled this down and then I'm going to move it to the center. So I'm just going to leave this hole open and we can seal this up later on. Okay, the back is looking good. Okay, but the jet intake here needs some work. So now let's go to the side view, and we're going to go to wireframe, and we're going to move the vertices around so that it follows the topology of the cockpit area. Okay, so I'm going to press A to deselect, then press B to select the vertices and start to move these vertices. Okay, I want to make sure that I do not accidentally select too many of the vertices here, that it will affect the jet intake. I press Shift V to slide this along the vertex. Shift V, Shift V, shift this back. This one as well. Follow the flow of the reference. Shift V will slide the vertex along the topology flow. So this is very useful. Okay, I'm going to press A to deselect and press B to select these bottom vertices and just move it down slightly. Okay, this is looking pretty good, so I'm just going to move this nose cone down a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to use the slide vertex method again to move the vertices until it matches the reference like that. Okay, so we have our cockpit canopy more or less lined up. Okay, so now here comes the challenging area. So how are we going to create the jet intake? So if we look from the top here, and I'm going to go to solid look again. So we have the bulging effect coming out pretty nice, but we don't have the the jet intake. So we have to do some operations, right, to create the jet intake. So there are some vertices, or rather there are some faces that we need to tear out. Okay, so the E section here, okay, this is where we reference from. Let me just go wireframe to see. And we need to tear out, okay, a hole around here. So I'm going to use the edge mode, and then I'm going to press V to open up the hole here. Okay, I'm just going to push this inwards. Okay, I'm probably going to need another edge loop around here so that I can create the rounded cross section. So I'm going to go to the front view. Yep, indeed, I need to insert one edge loop here. Oops, not here. Let me undo that. Control R. And then we can push these vertices down. Probably I can shift this down here as well. Okay, so I'm going to go to wireframe again and see where does the jet intake extend. So I'm going to move these lines here to match the shape of the jet here. And let's see, I'll probably need to insert one edge loop right about here. Okay, so now we are roughly following the shape of the jet intake. We might need to insert one more edge loop below to give it a much more rounded look. But now I think I'll just stitch these two together first. Alt M and then merge at the center. So now we have the opening for the jet intake. So let's go to the side view again, and we will need to move these jet intakes much lower. Now, from observation of the actual photos of the jet plane, I realize that there is a gap here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control R, insert one edge loop here, then Control R again, Control R again, insert one more edge loop here, and then okay, I'm going to select this vertex, then press E, and then extrude one small section here. Then go to edge mode, select these two edges, and press F to fill it up. And I should have another section here. That's it. Press F to join, because I'm going to select this open hole here to extrude the remaining extension. I'm going to scale this down slightly so that I have the jet intake. Now, from the observations of the photos that I've seen of the aircraft, there is actually a space between the jet intake and the wall of the plane. Okay, so now I have the jet intake done. Okay, so this one is still fairly low res. Okay, so now the jet intake is looking pretty okay. Okay, I just need to shift these vertices around. Probably just move this down here. Again, I'm using the Shift Z so that I can move the vertex along its edge loop. Okay, so let's see how are we doing for the body? Yeah, it's looking alright. So if I were to press Control 3 to add a subdivided modifier, and it's actually looking not too bad. However, the jet intake here is a little bit too rounded for my liking, and I think the front reference needs to be, well, okay, the front reference looks okay. Okay, then let me just temporarily hide the subdivision. Okay, the jet intake, the holes are actually much bigger, and we definitely need one more edge loop to run across here so that we can select this section and pull it out, make it rounder, and at the same time our jet intake, the hole is much bigger than I initially thought. Okay, so yeah, this is what it's supposed to be looking like. Then I'm gonna select the open gap, press E to extrude, right mouse click so it snaps back, press S to scale it in slightly, then press E again, right mouse click to snap it back, and then push it inside the aircraft. I'm going to scale this along the x-axis slightly. Maybe a little bit bigger. Okay, so that goes to the engine there. I'm going to turn the subdivision on and see what it looks like. Okay, definitely we need to pull out the vertices a bit, or add a bit more edge loops. I'm going to add one edge loop around here, possibly no, not this one. Not this one as well. Okay, maybe let me just undo that. Okay, I just need to reposition the vertices so that this section appears a bit rounder. Okay, I got it. So I'm gonna insert the edge loop around here, then I'm gonna pull this out slightly. Same thing for this. So I can push this section out, round it up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to use the top view for help. Okay, so you can see the jet engine actually goes up a little bit more. It's much fatter around here. So I'm going to grab this section and then pull it out. So right now what I'm doing is I'm doing subdivision modeling the plane based on it being subdivided. Okay, perhaps I need to press A to deselect and press B and select all these front vertices to scale it. Okay, scale it along the y-axis. Sorry, S followed by Y. Then 0. Then I can rotate this to follow the angle. I can also scale it up slightly. Let's put this back a bit. Okay, so I need to add more edge loops around here, or maybe I will slide these down here and then move it up just to correct the shape of the jet intake. Okay, and I think in order to solve this thickness issue, perhaps I need to move this forward. Okay, this sort of act like the shock vane, which we see in a lot of the jet planes. And I think this is looking, I mean, it's not fantastic, but definitely you need more time to adjust this area. We can insert one edge loop here. And perhaps scale it along the z-axis to make this a little bit rounder. Yeah, just like that. Yep, I'm happier with this now. Okay, so now we can move on to the wing. So if you wish, you can temporarily disable the subdivision surface. For the wing, you can try to insert a bunch of edge loops around here and then try to pull the wing out. Okay, and I think we have more than sufficient faces to do that. Okay, in fact, I'm going to grab these faces to form the wing. Let's see whether I have selected enough. Okay, I still need to select 2 more faces here. So these will be the basis of my wings. So I'm going to extrude them first. Now before I extrude them, it's best for me to reshape them so that they form a airfoil shape. So I just need to take note of these faces. Go to vertex mode, Shift V to round it off so that it has a aerodynamic shape. Okay, I think this is sufficient. Okay, and then we are now ready to extrude the wing. So Shift, okay, I forgot this is not Maya, so just press E to extrude, right mouse click so it snaps back to place, grab the X axis, and then press S followed by X and 0, so to flatten a section of the wing, okay, that you wish to pull out. So now you notice that the section, right, is not matching. I'm going to press Z to go to wireframe mode, press S followed by Y to scale it down until it matches the chord of the wing, and then I'm going to push it back, so this will form the basis of the wing. Okay, now the front root of the wing, right, is not matching, so it should be around here. So I'm going to press S and followed by Y to just scale it and position it until this point and the beginning point matches. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the side view and check again. Okay, the thickness of the wing looks pretty much okay. So going back to the top view again, press E to extrude another section. Okay, until it reaches the flap area. Then press S followed by Y. Then move it back until you're about center of the wing. Press S followed by Y again until you scale it to match the cross-sectional wing. You can go to the front view and push the wing up so that it has a dihedral. Press S followed by Z. Okay, note that we're not getting this completely accurate here because there is this undercarriage bay here. There's a bump there that we are not trying to follow for now. I'll just try to block this shape out first. So now we have the wing up to the flap and aileron area. So I'm going to press E again to extrude another section. Okay, then I'm going to press S followed by Y. And then I'm going to push this down until it matches the shape of the wing. So at this section here, you can press Ctrl R, insert one edge loop, press A to deselect, then Ctrl, go to vertex mode, press B and grab these vertices, push it until it forms the rounded edge of the wing. So I'm going to do the same for here, grab these vertices, push it in. Okay, now you can see that because of the 2 sections that we've extruded, the wing is not really tapering to a tip properly here. So I'm going to press A to deselect and grab these vertices, press S followed by Z to thin out the wing, then rotate it until the tapering matches the wing. Okay, so this is before smoothing. So if I turn on smoothing, and it actually doesn't look too bad, it looks pretty close. Okay, we're just going to continue on. Okay, next we are going to create the stabilizer. So the stabilizer is, I believe it's an all moving stabilizer, and we can simply create it out of a box. Alright, so I do not wish to extrude it out from the faces, even though we have plenty. Okay, so I'm just gonna create a box while I'm in edit mode of this plane. So first I go to see where the position of the stabilizer is. Okay, so I'm gonna left mouse click on the position here. I'm going to the front. Okay, I guess that position is fine. So press Shift A. I'm going to create a cube, and I'm going to press Control R and subdivide this cube in this section here. Control R, and then subdivide the cube over here like that. Okay, I'm going to reduce the amount of subdivision so that I can see. In fact, I'm just going to temporarily turn off the subdivision so I can grab this cube. Press L to select only the element of this cube. Press S followed by Z to flatten it. Now if you watch my Skyhawk tutorial, you probably know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to scale on the Z axis of both sides of selected edges so they form an airfoil shape. Okay, and then for the other section here, I'm going to delete away the faces here. Oops, I think I deleted away more than I need to. Okay, I'm gonna move the faces up here like that. Okay, and I'm gonna press X, only faces. Okay. So I'm gonna temporarily turn off clipping, then press L so that I can move this section out. Okay, I don't know what is going on over here. I'm going to go to select the vertex and delete away that vertex. Okay, so now I have this section. I'm going to go to the top view, and I'm going to press A to deselect, press B to select this section, pull it all the way until it reaches the tip, press S followed by Y to scale it down and then push it back. Okay, and then as for this section here, I'm going to grab and select this group here, press S followed by Y, then pull it up, S followed by Y again, scale along the Y axis. Okay, now before I add more edge loops, I want to go to the front view and scale along the Z axis to give it a tapered and anhedral. Press A to deselect, press B to select the central portion, press S followed by Z, okay, to scale it up, to give it some thickness. Okay, and then perhaps this one I'm going to scale it up a little bit more so that I have now the tail stabilizer, which is airfoil shaped. Okay, and I'm going to grab these vertices and push it out until they stick out from the, oops, tell you what, I'm just going to Alt right mouse click and select these group of vertices and then just pull it out until they are sticking out of the plane. Okay, I'm going to press Ctrl R and then insert one edge loop here, and then another one here probably. Just to round things up for the stabilizer. I'll grab this point and just push it back in. Probably push it out so that it blends onto the surface. Okay, I have to be very careful, make sure that I select the proper vertices. Okay, so this, now it's got a stabilizer, but this surface is not smooth, so I'm going to just smooth everything, see what it looks like, and then I'm going to press A to select all the faces, press Ctrl N, so all the face normals are behaving properly. Okay, so now what we are left with is the vertical stabilizer. So for the vertical stabilizer, I'm just going to pull it out from the faces here. So I'm going to go to the face mode, select all the faces which I think will form the vertical stabilizer. Okay, and then just going to press E to extrude. Right mouse click so that the extruded faces snap back. I'm going to turn on clipping, and then I'm going to grab the manipulator. Okay, and then press S followed by Z, then 0, so to flatten the selected faces. Press Z to go to wireframe mode, press S followed by Y, then just pull it back and match the profile of the vertical fin. So the next thing I want to do is I want to reshape it so that it has a cross section again of an airfoil. So this step is very important for you to ensure that the aircraft has a proper aerodynamic profile. Okay, so now we need to insert a couple of edge loops so that we can bring in this profile narrower. So I'm going to press Ctrl R, insert one edge loop right about here. You can press S followed by Z0 to flatten it, then press S followed by Y to scale it inwards. Okay, I'm going to press A to deselect, press P and grab these vertices and bring it down so it matches the profile. Press A to deselect, press B and select these group of vertices, and I'm going to shift them around. I'm going to put my cursor here. Okay, press Ctrl Tab to temporarily turn off the manipulator. Put the cursor here and then turn on scale by 3D cursor. So while these group of vertices are selected, I can scale them inwards until I match the profile of the vertical stabilizer. Then press Ctrl R again, insert another edge loop right about here. Press A to deselect, press B box select, and then create the rounded profile of the stabilizer. And there are some vertices here that I need to manually move inwards. Okay, I want to check whether I have accidentally created an extra face here. This seems like there's an extra face hiding there. Yep. So I'm going to press X to delete away these faces. And okay, seems like there are hidden faces inside. So I'm going to temporarily turn off the mirror. Yeah, so when I extrude, right, there are internal faces, so you need to get rid of these faces. So otherwise they're going to cause subdivision issues. Okay, so now it's an empty shell here. And I think essentially the hawk, the basic shape of the hawk is more or less done. Now do take note, this is actually the first time I've ever modeled this plane. So obviously there's still a lot of steps that needs to be done to complete this. Okay, but essentially that is how you block out the hawk plane. And might need to put some extensions around here to connect to the back of the plane. Okay, so but we got the jet intakes, we've got the cross section forming the canopy. Alright, so let me just double confirm. Okay, we'll probably need to okay, reshape the topology flow here so that it matches the flow of the canopy. So actually I can just apply a different material to this to form the canopy. So I'm going to go to face and select these faces. And apply a new material. Just give it a dark brown, brownish. Material, just hit assign, so now it should be a dark color. Then I need to create another color. I'll just use a normal white color. Then I press Ctrl I to invert selection, and then I hit assign. So now my jet plane have two different colors. So in my modifier, I'm going to turn on my subdivision and see what it looks like. Okay, so like I said, this is not perfect yet, but it is close. Okay, you definitely need a little bit more work. Okay, but it is close to what we need. Okay, I need to insert one more edge loop down here so that the stabilizer will be much more defined. Okay, there's probably another section here that should come out from the plane's body so that you can attach the stabilizer closer. Okay, so I think I'm going to just hide the reference in another layer. Okay, and then inspect my plane. And this is how you block out the model of the British Aerospace Hawk T1. Okay, but like I mentioned, there is still a lot of work to be done. Okay, but at this stage, this is how I will approach modeling this plane. And this is the first time I'm actually using Bsurfaces to model an aircraft. So I hope you enjoy this video. Oh yeah, okay, before I end off, I want to seal off this hole here. Okay, I hope you learn some new tricks here. I'm gonna press E to extrude, then I'm gonna press S. Tell you what, just go to front view. Then I'm gonna left mouse click my vertex, my cursor. Then I'm gonna scale it. Okay, right now it's not scaling in the right direction. I need to reposition the cursor until they are right here and front. Okay, I'm gonna scale it to the center. I tell you what, the scaling is going back. So I'm gonna press G followed by Y, pushing it in front. So the nose is now rounded, okay, a little bit sharp, okay. And this is how you model the British Aerospace Hawk. Okay, hope you enjoyed this video and hope you learned something new. Alright, thanks for watching.